Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? Welcome back to Fanatic Sports. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more NFL content in your life. Now, let's move on to today's video. Most positions in the NFL have a clear-cut best or top 3 at the position. But there's one position in the league with no consensus top player. Wide receiver is often debated by people on who the best is, whether it's the likes of Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, or someone else. And throughout my next 2 videos, I will be explaining my reasoning behind my top 10 wide receivers in the National Football League. But first, we have the honorable mentions. At honorable mention 5, we have Courtland Sutton. He had a breakout year last year, and as the only reliable wideout for the Broncos, and helped a young Drew Lock find his own in his first 5 games at the end of the year. He's a star in the league, and I can see him being in my top 10 by next season, or mid-season next year. Honorable mention 4, we have Davante Parker. One of my personal favorite wide receivers because of his jump ball ability deep down the field. He's fast, he's big, and has great hands, and finally broke out after potentially being labeled as a bust after being taken in the middle of the first round in 2015. All of his success this year came with lackluster quarterback play, except for sometimes a Hall of Famer, and sometimes horrible, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Honorable mention number 3, we have Kenny Golladay. Similar to Parker, he's great deep down the field without the insane speed some deep threats have in this league. With Stafford being out for half the year, watching him do what he did this year was great, and seeing him develop into a young star in this league will be fun. Julian Edelman is next, and I think we all know why. As a 5'10 former quarterback, watching him turn from not being a part of the offense at all his first 4 seasons to being the second best wide receiver in playoff history, debatably, based on his statistics and records, and a Super Bowl MVP, might be one of the best stories in the NFL. Without Tom Brady, and being 34 years old, we will have to see how he does with the new QB at the helm, but in reality, he will perform just fine. And for the top honorable mention, I was back and forth between him and his teammate on who was really better. I decided to put Mike Evans as the top honorable mention. There's no denying he's a great wide receiver in this league and has always been for the Bucs, as through his first 6 years in the league, he has never had a season under 1,000 yards. With weird quarterback play last year, and really throughout his whole career, he still put up 1,157 yards and 8 touchdowns in 13 games. Now, let's get into my top 10. At number 10, I have Jarvis Landry. There's no denying Jarvis' production throughout his career. Whether it was with the usually bad Dolphins team or with the awful Cleveland Browns, he has always produced for his team. Last year, Landry put up a career high in yards with 1,174, nearly a career low in receptions with 83, as well as 6 touchdowns. Throughout his first 6 years, he is a 5-time Pro Bowler, all being within the past 5 years, and has a few records to his name. His 564 catches are the most for a player throughout their first 6 years. And throughout his career, it's been like through the first 3 years, he's had that record, and etc. But that record will soon be broken by a player I think he's kind of similar to. I believe Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry are similar wide receivers, but yes, Michael Thomas is obviously better. Both are great possession receivers, make a lot of their catches underneath rather than deep down the field or in the middle of the field like a Julian Edelman, for example. Both of the receivers have a yards per catch average of around 11 to 12 and love to run the short routes like slants, outs, curls, and others of that nature. Also, both always get a lot of receptions every year as they both have led the NFL in catches in separate seasons. But to get back to Jarvis, although I said he loves to run a lot of short routes, he's a great route runner and amazing in the open field. Just look at that one play against the Texans in 2015. He does not have the elite speed, but it does not matter due to the separation he creates with his release off the line and the route running as a whole. He also has debatably the best hands in the league, which I would say he's tied with players such as OBJ, DeAndre Hopkins, and Julio Jones for that title. Now, let's move on to number 9. I feel Chris Godwin belongs at the number 9 spot. I knew going into last season that he was going to have an amazing year. Deshaun Jackson and Adam Humphries left Tampa Bay, leaving a pass-happy new Bruce Arians team with 179 targets to split amongst the team that was already there. And boy did Godwin produce with those new targets. He finished last season with 86 catches for 133 yards, 9 touchdowns, and was a first-time Pro Bowler, compared to the year before where he had 59 catches, 842 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Yes, I have him over Mike Evans, due to Godwin being more of a big play guy than Mike Evans. They both are similar in the amount of skill they have, yet they are completely different wide receivers. Godwin is fast, a great route runner, amazing deep threat, not like Mike Evans isn't, and a drop percentage of .8 last year. Having him on my fantasy team really made me watch the film on him, just because of how well he was doing for me, and if you didn't see him breaking out last year in the new offense with more opportunities, I have to call you dumb. Sorry. It was obvious before last season how skilled he was, because on that team with Humphries and Deshaun Jackson, he still put up respectable numbers as the 4th or 5th option in the passing game some games. However, I do not think he could be higher than 9 just due to the amazing talent at this position right above him. With that being said, let's go on to number 8. For this spot, I have Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen quite literally may have the best release in the NFL, maybe next to my guy, number 6. He always finds a way to get open without the top tier speed of some wide receivers in the NFL, and he catches most of the balls thrown at him with a drop percentage of 4.7% and a catch percentage of 69.8%. Last season he finished with 104 catches, 1,199 yards, and 6 touchdowns in his 3rd consecutive Pro Bowl season. His route running ability and being able to get open in the middle of the field and outside the numbers too makes him one of the most elite receivers in the league, which is why he is number 8. He has finally been able to stay healthy the past few years, and it's a blessing for the Chargers, their 2 fans, and the league as a whole. Sorry, Chargers fans. If Melvin Gordon can make fun of the no fans in the stands, anyone can. Those injuries were scary though, as he had one in 2015 after catching the ball in the end zone. Maybe he dropped it. I don't really remember. But the injury was to his kidney, which could have been really bad because, internal bleeding, that could kill you. However, he came back from that and has put up great numbers ever since 2017. I think next season, as the Chargers' clear top target, with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback or Justin Herbert, he will get a lot of targets, and I can see the Chargers sneaking into the playoffs due to the great passing game. Not the quarterback, but all the weapons around him. Now, on to number 7. Amari Cooper comes in at number 7. Cooper is a weird player. I don't like to watch him because I don't like the Cowboys at all. But he is good. But he's also the most inconsistent good wide receiver in the league on a per-game basis. You never know exactly what you are going to get from Cooper, especially when he was on the Raiders. Also, he's never really had the best hands in the league, as he's had drop issues in the past and kind of did last year. Now, I bet you are all wondering, why do you have him at 7 if you're just saying all these bad things about him? Well, it's because everything else he does is great. When he is on fire. Last year, he put up a career high in yards and touchdowns with 1,189 and 8 touchdowns, with a respectable 79 catches on 119 targets, which is a catch percentage of 66.4 and a drop percentage of 4.2. His explosiveness for the Cowboys really is a part of what makes Dax look so good, because he can do everything if he is not being absolutely locked down by a team's best corner, which does happen sometimes to him. But hey, happens to every receiver at some point in their life, am I right? Cooper is a great route runner with elite speed and good hands downfield most of the times. Although I did say he has drop issues, which is a fact, he still is good and does have good hands most of the time. Just sometimes he just lets the easy ones get away from him. But down the field, he is just a great receiver. He's also good in the middle of the field, outside the numbers, deep down the field, like I said, short. He's just a good receiver. But the inconsistency is what puts him this low. If you even consider number 7 low. Because if he was consistently dominant in every game, he would have been at number 6, maybe even number 5. But those issues do exist for him. Another reason why I have him at number 7 instead of higher is because of how good of an offense he is in. He has Kellen Moore as his offensive coordinator. He's great. He has Dak Prescott, a good quarterback, a good wide receiver too to keep people off of him. Good running game. So it's kind of easy for Cooper nowadays. He has an easy time playing the NFL because of how good his team is around him. Now, let's talk about the last receiver for this video. For the final spot of this video, as my 6th best wide receiver in the league, I have Davante Adams. He is a red zone machine when healthy, being consistent 10 to 12 touchdown guy for the past 4 years. Having said that, he only had 5 touchdowns last year, but that was due to his turf toe injury that kept him out for 4 games, and he clearly was not fully healthy for at least a couple of the games after his return. Last season, in those 12 games, he had 997 yards, 5 touchdowns on 83 catches, with 127 targets. He has great hands. However, last season, he had 7 drops, which is not great by any means. But that is an outlier for him and should not be used to represent his catching ability. Like I said with Keenan Allen, he probably does have the best release in the game, above Keenan, but it is still a close call. Davante is not fast by any means, but uses pure skill to get past people down the field, outside the numbers, and in the red zone on routes like fades and other deep and intermediate routes. The Hall of Fame quarterback throwing him the ball, there's no reason to believe Davante Adams cannot come back and carry the Packers receiver core like he has for the past couple years. Literally. There's not one notable receiver on that team besides him. Now, Davante concludes this video of my first 5 of my top 10 receivers. If they are all elite is your opinion, and if you disagree with me, comment down below who you think I should have in these spots. Now, at the end of this video, I would like to point out me keeping Stefon Diggs from this list. No, he is not my top 5, obviously, and I kept him out not due to his talent, but due to how he has handled himself the past 2 seasons, kind of reminding me of Antonio Brown, but obviously not nearly as bad. Talent-wise, he's top 10. That's undeniable. But I just cannot stand him and how annoying he is on social media, and this is my opinion, so that's why he's not on the list. Also, I left Adam Thielen off of this list because last year he was injured, he didn't do great, and this is a list for heading into next season, and I do not think he will have an outstanding year with Diggs being in Buffalo and their offensive coordinator leaving for the Browns, so we'll have to see how he does in the Vikings' potential new system without an elite wide receiver 1B on the team with him on the opposite side of the field. Now, with that being said, they should have been in the honorable mentions from the beginning, if not in the top 10, so I'm just going to add them to the top of the honorable mentions list. Now, with that being said, that is all from me, guys. Thank you for tuning into Fanatic Sports and my position rankings. Hope you all liked the video, and if you did, please hit the subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.